Hi, welcome to another episode of the Investor's Guide to Hard Money Lending. Today we have our guest, Nikki Bernal, here with us today. She's an local investor here in the Memphis market, owns quite a few investment properties, does some flips, also does kind of Airbnbs. I think we're going to talk more about the short-term rental market in case any of you are interested in that, how she uses hard money and how she navigates that world of investment property. So welcome, Nikki.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so tell me, how long ago did you start investing in properties?
Well, we started out in 2015. Wholesaled a couple deals. Played in the tax record houses, that were being sold on tax sales. We didn't do many of those because obviously they have the redemption periods and there's more that goes into them. But that's how we kind of got our foot into it, was just personally buying a house to renovate and then also wholesaling a couple of properties on the side to kind of get that rolling. And then it just kind of naturally
Progressed.
Yeah, and then when we got to the hard money lender part of it, it really was able to grow and
to ramp up.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me, when identifying your investment properties, what kind of properties now are you looking for?
So we still kind of do everything the same way, and I think that's part of the reason we have pretty good success, and you start to get to know the area and the houses. But we look at a couple of things. We look at the area, obviously, how much work it needs versus the potential ARV that it might get back. We also have to look at market rents and Airbnb market pricing to see if it's there. We have to make sure that neighborhood's not oversaturated with Airbnbs also, so that we can kind of decide which way we might want to go. But we like to go into it having as many exit strategies as we possibly can.
And that's so smart in a market like we're in today, where it might not be that flip you're looking to sell,
Right.
but can you refinance it and rent it out?
Right, that goes into it as well.
Okay. So why do you talked about using hard money to kind of ramp up your business? Why hard money versus traditional financing?
For us, for the most part, with the properties that we're renovating, a lot of these sellers are trying to close as quickly as possible, and it's just not something that a 30 to 45-day traditional financing contract can handle. Usually a seller will go with somebody that can pay quicker with cash, whatever it may be. So we like hard money lending because of the quick turnaround that we get.
I gotcha. That it is speed, because to get the best deals, you want to move faster.
Exactly. So, and that goes into how we chose who we wanted to use for hard money lending as well, because not everybody moves. Not everybody has the same sense of urgency. Even, the market has pretty much stayed the same in this capacity, like on the bottom end, picking houses to renovate and whatnot. So we definitely really like the quickness that we can move on some of these houses with hard money lending versus
traditional financing. Yes. Okay. So you talk about that. So the most important thing for you then in choosing a hard money lender is going to be the speed.
Correct. Also communication and adaptability, because not every single deal is going to look exactly the same. While you're going, every seller is different and what they expect is different. So I really enjoy CoreLend because you guys are able to adapt pretty quickly depending on what's going on.
Yeah, I think one of your recent ones, it was like, we need to move fast. Then we had to wait.
Yeah, it was crazy. That one was insane. I'm so glad that we were able to sell that one. Sometimes you just get into it with the sellers and it takes a lot longer than you anticipate.
But that was a good one. Like, we were willing to wait with you.
Yeah, it was great. It ended up being a great renovation and it sold. It did really well. So, hey, part of the territory, I guess.
You've got to be flexible in working in the investment market.
You really do. Yeah.
So you invest in the short-term rental space. What criteria do you use to determine is this going to work in that short-term rental space? Airbnb, VRBO?
So kind of combination of the same things that you would look at for like resale. AirDNA is something they use to kind of show you what everybody in the area is making, like on a monthly or nightly basis. We have to make sure there's not too many other Airbnbs already there, because if it's overly saturated, it just, you're competing with too many people in the same little place. But other than that, we kind of approach it the same way you would a long-term rental. It's just different market rents that you're looking at.
And you're right on the saturation market, because we've got Airbnb down in Oxford, Mississippi, and it was a couple of years ago. It's like a local brokerage there took over a huge apartment complex condo of 300-something units, and so many parents of students there said, hey, we can get in this cheap, we'll just Airbnb it. Yep. So it just became saturated. Now it's starting to see the other end, because now they're selling because their kids have graduated. But But you do have to look of like, am I going to be just one fish in a pond of a million?
Right.
Or-
Which then I guess that comes into how you set them apart once you do get into that, because, in Midtown especially, there's a lot. And so you just have to kind of do little things to try and set the thing apart.
And so you talk about setting them apart. I know a lot of that goes into the finishes of what you're choosing. So tell me, what do you do to set yours apart from other?
Most of it comes from the decor. I mean, we renovate all of our houses the same, no matter what we expect to do with them, whether that's long-term, short-term, resale, whatever that may be. We renovate them like we would move into them. So you're going to get nicer finishes there anyways. And then the decor is like kind of funky and like lots of neon LED lights, cozy, but there's lots of outdoor space. We have decks with like plenty of outdoor activities for people to do. I think it really has brought a lot of people into us.
Yeah, because you mentioned the Midtown. They like the funky decor.
Oh, yeah.
They want that personality of like 100-plus-year-old area.
Yeah.
So and I can say like ours down in Oxford, it's a completely different. It is, okay, make it clean. They're coming in there just for a game or for some type of sports event. It's
Right.
How many towels do you have? How many things like that? Does everything look bleached? So it's just know your market.
Yeah. That's a lot too, what you just said. Like all that list is something that goes into it every day, and it's constant for sure.
And it's the little things that you wouldn't expect on typical investment
Right.
properties. Like, okay, do you have a coffee bar set up here? Do you
Right.
have this type of thing? Is it, you hate to say, but even what type of, is it single ply toilet paper? Is it Charmin that you're getting, like,
Yeah, exactly.
your guests, that
Do
the
you have an
reviews they-
iron? Do you have a blow dryer? Yeah, everything that you would anticipate someone needing at home, you try to anticipate needing it there.
So yeah, so there's more of an expense going into, so you want to
Right.
make sure you're getting that return on your investment
Exactly.
with your Airbnbs. So what do you see some of the challenges the short-term rental market is facing right now?
I know I've said oversaturation a million times.
Yeah.
And then the other big one is just trying to control the parties. Airbnb has a pretty like zero tolerance when it comes to parties, which naturally, because some issues have come out of that. We've never personally had any crazy issues, but we do a couple things to make sure that there's not going to be more guests than they say that there's going to be. And we're really communicative with guests beforehand so that their expectations are measured. Because not everybody reads the house notes and the rules.
So what are some of the steps you take to like?
So we do have external security cameras on, like facing the street, the walkway, the front door, and then like the back fence line. And that just, it's not something that's like, gonna set off an alarm every time someone does something wrong. But if a neighbor brings something to our attention, we're able to go back and check and see, was it someone that was at our house? Was it somebody that was just walking down the street, which has happened before, that type of thing. But so that, and then we have actually created really great relationships with the neighbors who live full time in the houses around our Airbnbs. They won't hesitate to reach
call.
out to us. Yeah. So they help us a little bit, kind of a secondary security measure.
And you bring up that point. I've got a buyer that she's bought 2 down in South Haven now, kind of near Northwest Community College. They stay like 100% booked all the time.
That's awesome.
But she's like, I made friends with the neighbors,
Yeah.
and she goes, they watch out for my property, and now they keep up theirs too because ours
Yeah.
looks cute. So it is so important to be able to build those relationships with.
Yeah,
the
we've even
locals.
had a couple of them, they'll have family come in town and they'll book the B&B because it's across the street from their house.
Yeah.
So,
So building relationships,
Exactly.
you build your business that way.
yeah.
So on financing, so you'll use, say, a bridge loan to get your Airbnb ready. That's not a traditional, your rental property, your investment property. What does the financing to get out of your bridge loan look like?
So they actually function, if you're going into it as a short-term rental with like refinancing, they kind of operate the same way as your regular DSCR would with a long-term rental. They look at AirDNA and the market rents. Most of the lenders who will finance the short-term rentals require seasoning, and that's why we did a couple bridge with y'all for 2 properties, either last year or the year before, because we were letting them season a little bit so that we could do that cash-out refi once it hit this amount of months that she was requiring. So
Right, and it just varies on the lender what that seasoning period is.
right, but I mean, it really is pretty identical to like your regular DSCR loan.
If it's bringing in money, it's bringing in money.
Exactly. Yeah. So as long as they can see it, then they're, it works. But
Yep.
yeah, you do have to season it. They don't want somebody that's only been doing it for 3 months, because things can go sideways quick in real estate. So
Right. Yes, and that also too, then, okay, you started off really strong in this, but
Right.
then they're in their short-term rental and they didn't realize, oh, these reoccurring expenses that I
Right.
wasn't accounting for, and they stopped doing it, and then their
Right.
bookings stopped.
Right, and then obviously, y'all having a bridge type loan was super helpful in that instance, needing, that in between being finished with the renovation and getting where it needed to be to cash out refi. It was helpful. It was very convenient.
No, good. That's what hard money's there for. It's
Right.
to fill that. It's really to bridge that gap.
Right. So, yeah, we love it.
So I know you've already touched on this. So with your short-term rentals, do you focus more on like the dynamic pricing, where like events are coming in, or do you focus on that business traveler that is coming in, just needs a place to stay, they don't want a hotel? Like, what do you
Right.
focus
So
on?
we've kind of had luck all across the spectrum, and we manage all the pricing ourselves. Airbnb, I think VRBO might as well, but Airbnb for sure, they have a system where it'll automatically dynamic price it for you, but they tend to come in just all over the place. It is not consistent enough. So we kind of manually dynamic price it. If we know something's going on, we'll increase it a little bit because there's more demand. It's like May, for instance, there's a
Right.
graduation every weekend. You've got all these tournaments, end of year things,
Memphis in May.
games, Memphis in May, everything. So, we've housed Paint Memphis artists from out of town. There was a comedy show festival a couple weeks ago that a bunch of people stayed at. One of the groups that stayed during Memphis in May won a couple trophies at Barbecue Fest.
Oh,
and
nice.
Gave out a bunch of leftover barbecue to all the neighbors after they were done cooking, and we've had a pretty good luck doing it all ourselves. We have also kind of dipped into midterm rentals, so we do have like extended stay options. Like right now, we do have one house where they'll be there anywhere between 3 and 8 months while they work on contractors, while
Uh-huh.
they finish out whatever project they're doing, and then before they leave. And then they're really good return guests. So
Yes, and then you're not having the turns that happen.
exactly, yeah. So that's becoming the sweet spot, is that midterm rental. But we do a lot of short term still. It's a lot of weekends or like 4 days here
Mhm.
and there. That's what people like to do typically. So.
Yeah, and then where you can get in that midterm rental too is like with house fires or water leaks or.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and we've signed up with a few of those companies too. Because the insurance companies will usually just place them somewhere. So you just get in with insurance companies, let them know that you have a place available, and then they'll reach out when they need to place a family.
Mhm. And those are typically going to be above market rents.
Right? Mm-hmm.
At that point.
Because
So-
you're able to market as a fully furnished
Right.
place, yeah.
Yes. Okay, so, what do you see long-term? Where do you see that kind of that short-term rental market going versus hotel? Like, I know
Yeah.
there's been some people like, no, I'm going back to hotels because the cleaning fees are outrageous.
Right.
Where do you see that going? What have you seen in your short-term rentals?
We've been pretty consistent and steady. I know that they'll talk about dips in other cities. There's always slow months, and
Right.
then there will be a month that'll make up for the slow month, so it all kind of averages out in the end. But we haven't really personally seen like major dip. I actually think there's been an increase in use of Airbnb because Vrbo was bought out it became part of the Expedia group, and they just have a little bit less customer service and like involvement when it comes to things. So I've seen actually an influx of people moving from Vrbo bookings to Airbnb bookings. So it's kind of had an uptick in a way.
And I think we've seen that personally too. We've
Yeah.
experienced that, and I would agree with you on that. Like, ours down in Oxford, there's not enough hotels.
Right.
People might want to stay there, but they can't because
Right.
you bring in a football game, an SEC football game, and you've doubled the size of the town for that weekend.
Yeah. I already know. I actually have a friend that she built a new construction and then specifically to rent it out to students while they're there. Oxford's a great market to be in. For Memphis specifically, the only thing I can see potentially creating like a downward slope of new Airbnbs is the city does have permitting and ordinances in place now. A lot of us were grandfathered into that, but people who are maybe starting to get into it, they'll have to go through like the full permitting process through the city and all that. So
And
it's hard. They're making it kind of hard on people. So
And I can see that. I think that's something, if you're going into a hard money, this is your first time doing an Airbnb, you want to make sure that you have those ducks in a row so that you
Right.
can still get that rehab done
Right.
and get it refinanced out within that time, that loan time frame.
Right, and that's why also it's important, like you said, to build relationships, make sure everybody is on board with everything. It would make transitioning into an Airbnb easier when the neighbors are okay with
Yeah,
it.
they're on board. Yeah, they're on board with
Yeah.
you. You know, and with short-term rentals, there's a little bit of a different dynamic there too. I know we talked to this before we started discussing, but you know, mine are down in Oxford, and it could be 7 o'clock at night, and the air conditioner's not working, and it's Friday night. So it's. I know for us, it's extremely important to have that kind of after-hours team because you don't get that air fix that
Right.
night. There goes maybe, and especially if it's on a big weekend, there goes a one night of rental
Oh,
income.
yeah. And possibly dealing with Airbnb support and all that. Yeah, that does happen. Over the last 2 years, I've realized that a lot of it is user error. So sometimes you can troubleshoot it before, but because we do it all ourselves, if one of us has to get up and go check it out, then we'll just get up and go check it out. Right now, that's manageable. If we continue to grow the portfolio, I'll have to probably find somebody that'll help me do that. But for that reason, everybody that helps me with this, the whole team is local because it just makes it easier.
Yeah, the key is
Yeah.
having a strong local team. Yeah, you're local here.
Right.
But out of market, somebody that's out of market, they want to make sure they find a strong
Right.
local team to be able to do it.
Right, and I make sure to let guests know too that we are local because that goes a long way. Because if they have questions about anything, the area, where to go, what to do, what not to do, I can actually give them an answer, not just a Google search.
No, that's great. And now you do yours on Airbnb, and we discussed this too. But the keyless entry pad, you said you
Yep.
stayed with normal keeping. Now Airbnb's come out with something.
That's integrated right directly to their system, and that just is helpful because they've already integrated buttons where the guests can tell you they've checked out and all these things so that you know. But having it to where it can automatically sync the codes per guest would just be a lot helpful because right now we manually change them in between every guest. So, and then also I guess I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was surprised by the amount of people that don't know how to work a regular master lock key box. So I've had to FaceTime a few people and show them how to use it. And so I told my husband, I said, maybe we need to switch to this electronic because I can't do this.
No, things that we take for granted, having to go to all these properties and
I know.
contractor boxes and this kind of stuff that not everybody deals with
Right.
those on
You
a
just-
daily basis.
And you don't even think about it until you realize, you're like, oh, you probably would have no reason to ever open one of these.
Right, when we
Yeah.
do it every day.
We do it every day. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, how many broken nails have we gotten from this?
Man. Yeah. I'm sure somebody else has broken a few nails trying to open one too.
Yes, yeah. And you talk about this on user error too on some of these things. Like, I know we integrated it because of with our systems. This is just on going to rehab. Like your traditional thermostat, you think no big deal. We had to move to Nest thermostats because we'd walk in and it's in the wintertime and the guest just left it at 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And that's just thinking of for long term for keeping your maintenance costs down.
Right. It also takes out having to explain to them why the thermostat has to operate certain ways and how that can mess up the machine. Like I told you guys over the weekend, somebody, the air wasn't working because it froze up because they had the doors and windows open. The air at 66, it was 80 in there. And I said, yeah, that's what happens. You can open the doors and windows, we can't have the air running like that. So it's just, but a lot of things, it's like learn as you go. Like some stuff has come up that I've never even thought of before and just had to kind of roll with it and learn from next time. Same with guests. You live and you learn. You can't control everything that everybody does. And that's one of the biggest challenges with short-term rentals is just people, making sure that the people who are staying are respecting the property and it's not just constant maintenance. Because then it digs into,
Into your profits.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, and you talk and this, and we look at it too, on hard money lending for these investment properties. You said you decorate regardless if it's on all of the same. Because what would your suggested? They like we said, people like color. They like the personality. But what would you say could be the downfall of putting your rehab of you're painting every room a different color
Right.
on this kind of?
So we haven't actually we use decals and stuff so that we don't run into that or have to go repaint them white after all is said and done. So we typically just paint everything white on white like we do, and then we'll use decals, or we might paint a mural. We've done a couple murals where we'll just paint straight on the white. But the murals we've done, I feel like might even help sell it.
Help sell it.
It's not just it's not like an accent wall. It's like one has a big tiger, like a Memphis tiger in the middle. And people really like that. So I feel like somebody would keep it.
So, yeah, because it's personality.
Exactly.
Well, so tell me, I appreciate you coming. Tell me a little bit about your, do you do rehabs or anything for other people, or is this you just do it for yourself?
Yeah, now we just do it for ourselves. Over the years we've had quote unquote partners or tried to work with other people, and it just you have to really trust people, and it's kind of hard to bring a couple teams together in every instance. So we've really, my husband and I, Emmanuel, us being a team, we're pretty locked in. So it's gotten easy. We've locked our subs in. We've got really reliable subs. So it's yeah.
Because the name of the game is speed. You're getting
Right.
these bridge loans to be able to, or the
Right.
flips. It is speed. You want to get in and out. If you got too many people at the table making decisions, then that's time.
Exactly. Yeah. And not everybody has the same goals or certain sense of urgency or all that. I just have to align on a lot of things to work smoothly. And then we have plenty of friends and I guess I just call them friends and acquaintances in the industry that we all bounce off of each other. Hey, this deal didn't work for me. You should go check it out. Or hey, do you have this type of contractor? There's a lot of that. There's just not a lot of us going into properties together.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's great too. I love that part of the community. That's awesome. Anytime I need anything, there's somebody that has a contact for it.
Right, but you don't know what you don't know, and so
Exactly.
if you lean on others who have been there before, or made this mistake, and they're helping you to not make the same
Right.
mistake they did.
Right. And so, and two, when you're trying to work quickly and you're on a certain deadline, you don't want to waste time trying to find, if you know somebody that has a really good connect that they've worked with and they know does good work, that cuts out. Because we've hired subs before that we've had to hire a second sub to completely redo what the first sub did. And you live and you learn.
You live and you learn.
Yeah.
Well, is there any way that you could plug your Airbnbs here?
Oh yeah, we have Instagram and a website, luxamenity.com, Luxamenity on all the socials. You can find us. You'll have links to every property and how to book.
Okay. Any questions for me?
Not really. Just appreciate you guys.
Well, appreciate you having on, Nikki, and thanks everyone for tuning in to another podcast, and we'll see you soon.